Having attended Miss Supranational Namibia in person recently, I felt so bad for some of the girls who maybe did not place as high as they wanted to, did not get a runner-up title, and especially the ones who did not win. I mean, there were 14 girls who were vying for the crown who did not succeed. And it got me thinking that I don't want any of those girls to give up, because I do feel like some girls have a lot of potential to become so great, but they tend to try once and then facing I don't want to use the word humiliation, but facing the reality of defeat, they decide to give up. They decide that they're not good enough. And rarely is it the case that any woman who has gone on to reach greatness in the pageant industry has won every single pageant that she's ever competed at. Especially recently, I must say, within the past 5 editions of Miss Universe, the winner had to try a lot of times to get to where they are, and that is what we will be discussing in this video today. I'm making this video hopefully to encourage some girls who perhaps tried for their national title and feel like they have to give up because they did not win the first time, or even the second time, or hell, even the third time. So in this video, I will be discussing 10 Miss Universes who had to lose at least once to get to where they are. Let's start with the current Miss Universe, Gabriel from the USA, who was crowned Miss Universe 2022. She lost Miss Texas USA in 2021. Granted, she was the first runner-up, which is a really high and admirable placement, but she did not win. She only won when she came back the next year and competed at Miss Texas USA 2022. This obviously led to her competing at Miss USA 2022, which she won, and then she got the right to represent the USA at Miss Universe 2022, which we all know she won. Then we have to mention Harnaaz Sandhu from India, who was Miss Universe 2021 and Arbany's predecessor. Harnaaz actually lost at Miss Femina India in 2019. Now, Miss Femina India sends candidates to Miss World, and when Harnaaz competed there in 2019, she only managed a top 12 placement. She obviously won Miss Diva India in 2021. Miss Diva India is the organization that sends women to Miss Universe, and this led to her winning Miss Universe in 2021. Harnaaz's predecessor, Andrea, who was from Mexico and who was Miss Universe 2020, competed at Miss World in 2017. If you guys didn't know, Andrea was actually Miss World 2017 first runner-up, which again, like with Arbany, is a very admirable placement, but there can only be Miss World, and if we're speaking technically, Andrea lost at Miss World 2017. But 3 years later, she decided to compete at Mexicana Universal, which is the organization in Mexico which sends women to Miss Universe, and she won. And then she went on to win Miss Universe 2020. Let's talk about a woman very close to my heart, Miss Zozibini Tunzi from South Africa, who was Miss Universe 2019 and Andrea's predecessor. Zozibini is arguably one of the most iconic Miss Universes in recent history, but she competed at Miss South Africa 2017 and didn't even get past the top 26. She took 2 years and then came back to Miss South Africa in 2019 and she won. She then went on to win Miss Universe 2019. To go from top 26 to being the winner of your national pageant is perfectly accomplishable. And I think that Zozibini Tunzi showed this. And if Zozibini had given up in 2017 when she only reached the top 26, then we wouldn't have the iconic Miss Universe 2019 that we have and know and love now. And Zozibini would probably not have become the icon that she did. Let's talk about Zozibini's predecessor, Miss Catriona Gray, who is equally iconic. Catriona obviously represented the Philippines at Miss Universe 2018, which she won. But she also competed at Miss World in 2016 and reached the top 5. Very admirable placement, but a loss nonetheless. She then went on to compete at Binibining, Pilipinas in 2018 and became the winner, and this granted her the right to represent the Philippines at Miss Universe 2018. Had Catriona given up after Miss World, we wouldn't have Catriona Gray, the iconic Miss Universe 2018. The lava gown, the lava walk, the incredible swimsuit performance that she gave, and her speaking skills that she put on display with her iconic answers, we would have none of that had Catriona decided to give up. Let's talk about another iconic Filipina queen, Miss Pia Wurtzbach, who is the most iconic Miss Universe ever, Miss Universe 2015. Pia lost a lot, actually, in order to become Miss Universe. Pia competed at Binibining Pilipinas in 2013, where she got the first runner-up title, very admirable, but a loss nonetheless. She then came back in 2014 and competed at Binibining Pilipinas, where she only reached the top 15. Now, a lesser woman might have given up then and there, because to go from first runner-up the previous year to now only placing in the top 15 must have been so demoralizing for Pia. But she didn't give up, and thank goodness for that, because the next year, in 2015, Pia competed at Binibining Pilipinas and she was the winner. This granted her the right, of course, to go to Miss Universe 2015, which initially she was announced as the first runner-up, but we all know that later on Mr. Steve Harvey came out and revealed that she was the actual Miss Universe 2015. Pia competed at her national pageant 3 times before she became Miss Universe 2015. And I think that is so admirable, and out of all of Pia's admirable qualities, I think that especially pageant girls should look up to her because of her stubborn disregard for the fact that she went from first runner-up to top 15 and that she absolutely refused to stop. And I think that even in 2015, if Pia hadn't won, she would have still come back because she had a dream and a vision for herself, and that is what she held on to. Now let's go back a little further in history to another iconic Miss Universe 2005, Natalie Glebova from Canada. Natalie competed at Miss Universe Canada in 2004, where she got the 3rd runner-up title. But she came back to Miss Universe Canada in 2005, which she won. And then obviously she went on to win Miss Universe 2005. Then we also have Mpule Kwelagobe, who was Miss Universe 1999 from Botswana, another iconic Miss Universe, purely for the fact that in her country's debut year at Miss Universe, she managed to win, which is so amazing. But, guys, Mpule competed at Miss World 1997, 2 years prior, and she went unplaced. She did not even place at Miss World. Now, you might think that she might have given up after competing at a major international pageant and not even placing. But no, Mpule went on to compete at Miss Universe Botswana in 1999, which she won, and then she went on to win Miss Universe 1999. Then we have to talk about Chelsi Smith, gorgeous woman from the US who was Miss Universe 1995. Chelsi competed at Miss Texas USA in 1994, where she ended her journey as only a semi-finalist. She came back the next year to Miss Texas USA 1995, which she won. She then went on to compete at Miss USA 1995 and won, and then she became Miss Universe 1995. The last queen I want to mention today is Miss Universe 1993, Dayanara Torres from Puerto Rico. Dayanara is also a woman who competed at another international pageant prior to winning Miss Universe. She competed at Miss International 1992 and only managed to place in the top 15. But then she went on to compete at Miss Puerto Rico 1993, which she won, and then she became Miss Universe 1993. These are just a drop in the bucket of the women all over the world who have gone on to accomplish such greatness in the pageant industry, who have had to try and fall publicly. And it's not easy. It's not easy to try and fail. And I think that these women are just such an inspiration and should be looked up to by girls competing in pageantry, especially on national level still. And I think that what some of these women show also is that you can compete at one international pageant and perhaps not do too well, and then go on to compete at another international pageant and do amazing. I mean, for one, there is a woman specifically who I did not mention on this list, but I think is important nonetheless, especially because it was Namibian pageant queens who inspired this video. Michelle McLean. Michelle McLean is Namibia's golden woman because she is our one and only Miss Universe ever. She won Miss Universe in 1992, but she competed at Miss World also, where she also only placed in the top 5, just like Catriona. She had to lose Miss World in order to become Miss Universe. Do you understand? So I think it's definitely important to look at the history of pageantry. You know, we know all of these gorgeous queens. We know their names, their faces, the gowns they wore, the iconic answers they gave, but a lot of them had to deal with some negative emotions also on their pageant journey, and they had to deal with some setbacks and some bumps in the road. And I think that's what makes their victories even more beautiful. Anyway guys, I hope you found this video interesting. There are so many more women who I can talk about who have accomplished these things, lost at some pageant and then went on to become an amazing international queen, Miss Universe, Miss World, Miss International, Miss Earth, etc. There are so many women, and I found it especially interesting that within the past 5 years, all of the Miss Universes, every single one of them had to fail at least at one national level or state level pageant, which I think is so interesting. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are on this, and if you know of any other queens, perhaps I'll do a video like this on Miss World. So let me know any Miss World queens who have tried and failed, and especially if you know of someone who has gone on to win a major international pageant but did not do so well at another international pageant. I know recently Miss International from Germany, Miss Jasmine Selberg, she competed also at Miss Supranational where she I think she placed where she went unplaced. So that's interesting. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.